Hi there, my name's Alex Wright and I'm the owner of Fightstorepro here in Newcastle. I'm going to take you through some of the shin guards that we sell on our website and to give you a little bit of information about the pros and cons of each individual one, and hopefully that's going to help you make an informed choice for the best things for your training. Even if you've had a lot of experience in these sports, sometimes people don't realise why things are made in a certain way, assume build materials be one thing when there can be another, and also we get a lot of people sometimes buy the wrong thing based on brand advertising and so on and so forth, or what they think their heroes wear. What we try to do here is give good advice for the sports that you do and try and help you make the right choice. There's very few items, if any at all, on Fightstorepro that we wouldn't actually endorse. However, there are certain products on the website that there are just so few choices available that we end up in a position where we want to put in 2 or 3 choices, so we pick the best of sometimes a bad bunch. There's going to be one of those in here today. So I'm going to get started. All of these are suitable for any form of kickboxing sparring to a point, and all of these to some degree are suitable for MMA sparring. It's all going to depend on how you spar. Some people do very, very light tip-tap sparring, some people do very hard sparring, some people do both, some people do in between the two. You've always got to think about how you train in order to make the best judgments about what you want to train in. So we've got some twins. We've got 2 different sets of twins here. We've got a Fairtex Shin Guard, one from Hayabusa, one from Danger Equipment from Thailand, and 2 different Revgear Shin Guards. One is made in India and one is made in Thailand. We're going to go through that in a second. Where something's made doesn't necessarily denote quality. There is a bit of a myth that if it's made in Thailand then it has to be good. What's generally good about things made in Thailand is the people making them have got an idea about how they're supposed to be used, but that's not always true, and there's a lot of products come out of Thailand that aren't so great. There's a lot of products that come out of India and Pakistan which are great, but this isn't necessarily always a consideration. It's who designs them and how well they use the factories, how well trained their workforce is. It's a bit of an aside, but it shouldn't really come into your decision about what it is that you purchase. So I'm going to start with twins. Twins essentially make 2 different sets of shin guards at this moment in time. They have the STL2 and the STL3. This is the STL3. This is the thinner version. I believe that this is probably the industry standard shin guard, and a lot of companies over the years have basically copied this shin guard, whether they've been from Thailand or elsewhere. It's a very simple shin guard. There's nothing much to it. It's perfect in its simplicity in many ways, but there have been some designs, certainly in recent years, that have begun to supersede this. It's very, very simple. Essentially some padding overlaid with leather. We've got it piped all the way around. 2 simple Velcro straps. I'm just going to check which size one this is. This one's a large, so it's going to be close in terms of, for myself, I'm 6'3". The instep's just going to strap onto your foot. Yeah. It's going to come up. Straps are going to come around the back. This one sits neatly below my knee. That's perfect, that's exactly where you want it. The shin guards without knee protection need to sit well below the knee. When you straighten the leg out, as you can see here, it doesn't want to be coming across the knee. A point that's kind of overlooked quite a lot with shin guards is when you actually want to use your knees in training and sparring. If you've got a big projectile piece right above your knee, then that's going to hinder your mobility. Simply put, this is a standard. Its protection's probably a medium level of protection. It's well made, it's made of leather, it'll last a long time. Years ago, they used to use metal clips here. Nowadays, they use an insert. As you can see, there's no metal pieces. This makes it stronger, not weaker. And they tend to last for a good long time. Eventually, this will stretch, but you'll get a good few years use out of it. This, simply put, is elegant in its design, easy to use. So you can draw your conclusions from there. The other type of shin guard twins make is the SGL2. This one's got this ugly big dragon on it, although we sell hundreds of them and some people mustn't think they're so ugly. Me personally, I like plain stuff, so that's me. Essentially exactly the same in most elements of its design, apart from it's got a whole load more padding, it's much bulkier, and it's got a slightly raised knee on the profile here. You can see on the other one, it's a lower cut. This one protrudes out a little bit. This just simply offers a lot more protection. The other one's better for mobility, this one's better for protection, and this is the way twins used to see it. Either you're going to stand there and check kicks, throw them heavy, good for heavy sparring, or you're going to move around and use it for light protection with the other one. Nothing wrong with this design. It's an old school design, but still very popular. Okay, so we're moving on. Now I'm going to take the Anomaly next out the group. I've chosen this specifically because, in my opinion, this is a completely outdated design. A lot of companies tried it and have moved right away from it. I'm not even sure whether Hayabusa is still making this particular model, but they make something similar. This neoprene sock slips over your calf. It's got the same kind of design as the others on the bottom. They've put some dents in over the instep so that it molds easier. The idea of this shin guard was specifically for mixed martial arts, where you have a kickboxing phase and then a phase where you're going to end up on the ground. The idea is that you can continue training on the ground with these on. To some degree this worked, but what it actually did was kind of nothing well. It offers minimal protection on the shin. It'll take the edge off a kick, but not much. The typical injury where you catch an elbow with your shin or on your knee, this is going to do nothing for this at all. The construction, it's very, very light. There's nothing to it. It's kind of not, as I say, not doing anything particularly well. For kickboxing, this is an absolute no-no. If you're wanting to do light MMA sparring and pull your shots and keep the power down, it can, stop you getting bruises on your shins if you're going light, but if you start stepping up the power, this is going to do nothing at all. My advice, steer well clear of this type of shin guard. Doesn't matter what the brand is. I happen to have picked the Hayabusa one up. Revgear did a version of this. They used more padding. Fairtex did a version of this, which was probably the best of the three, but still, you're just better off with a Thai boxing style shin guard. If you're doing MMA sparring, you can still spar to the point where you go to the floor, you can still get position on the ground, you can still execute ground and pound drills, but sock shin guards, I think they're becoming a thing of the past. So generally speaking, it's only my opinion, but I would avoid this one and put that money to good use in a Thai boxing shin guard. Okay, so we're going to move on here to the Revgear shin guard, which is the Revgear Defender shin guard. We've got two versions of the Revgear shin guard here today. This is the first one. This design's been going for a long time, and it's quite a clever design in many ways. I think it suffers from a couple of things. One, it's a little bit ugly, and two, it's kind of reinventing the wheel in certain aspects, and I think that hasn't caught on as well as it could. It does some clever things though, and it does some stuff which some of the others don't do. I'm going to start on the instep. It actually has a section which straps against the back of the heel, as opposed to twins here that doesn't, or the Hayabusa didn't either. This obviously stops the movement backwards, so it's got 2 points of contact there, which is quite clever. It has opposing straps on the back. Most of the Shin Guard straps are both on one way. To show you, there were the twins, both on the same side. In fact, all the others do. This one has opposing straps. What this is for is when you're checking a kick. One of the problems with Shin Guards, one of the most common problems, is it spins on your shin. And no matter what you try and do to strap your feet up, shins up, it still happens. What Revgear have done here is they've put opposing straps so that when it cinches up, it makes it more difficult for the shin to go left or right checking a kick. I mean, nothing's ever going to completely stop this happening, but this goes a long way towards that. It does use metal pins, unlike the twins, but it has a clever thing and a lip which stops the strap biting into the back of the leg. And it also has a pad on the back, which means that when you're strapping it up, you can either cinch it very, very tight, or if you've got particularly big calves, you can take the pads out, which gives you more room to cinch them up. The best things about the Shin Guard is the fact that it uses 2 completely different types of padding on the main contact points. So we've got this hard padding here, which is more like the 2 twins versions that we have there. And if we'd had this Shin Guard without the raised point, it would still be a good Shin Guard. But this raised point here, above the shin bone and above the small bones on the instep, help to slow down the kick. When the kick slowed down, then the impact goes into the second level of padding. This really does help to reduce injury. Now, I think the Shin Guard pretty much suffers from being A, a little bit ugly, and B, only available in black, and I think the samurai version. But overall, it's actually an excellent choice at $59.99. However, we've brought in another one from Revgear here, which is more in line with typical Thai designs. This is great for MMA. If you're doing harder sparring with MMA sparring gloves, it'll soak up a lot of the kick and you can still do a lot of your movement on the ground, although you're not going to be able to use your hooks effectively and so on and so forth. Overall, it's an interesting choice and it's a good choice. A lot of Thai boxers are going to still prefer to get something in more of the Thai style, but certainly for modern MMA fighters, this is a good choice. Yeah. Takes me on to the Fairtex. Fairtex, this is the SP5, the competition Shin Guard, in a lovely shade of yellow. Whether you like yellow or not is another matter. Just like the Revgear one, it's got the back heel support. And we've got a slight difference in the shin to the others so far, which is the knee raise. So the knee raise here. Now, this is an XL, which is probably going to work for me. This sits over the back of the foot, 6'3", and I'll get this on. Idea is this, when lengthened out, will come above your knee, and when you bend your knee, it sits to the knee. Now, this is all going to be a bit of a style thing. It helps to protect the knee from clips and elbows as you're sparring and training. But what it will do is still impede the knee if you want to use the knee for strikes. So you've got to think about that before you purchase these things. The other thing about this Shin Guard, which a lot of people are going to make an assumption that this is made of leather, it's not. This is a synthetic material. To feel, it's a little bit plasticky. But they sell at about £55, which still is sitting almost in the budget end of Thai Shin Guards. The protection level's not bad, it's very, very lightweight, and overall it's not a bad choice. I think in some ways this design's been superseded by others, and it doesn't tick all the boxes that some of the others do, but it's still a popular Shin Guard and pretty good for the money. So I shall move on. Lastly, we've got 2 versions of what is an identical Shin Guard. Now, I can hear the country screaming, why have you got 2 completely different brand names? on the same shin guard. This happens actually an awful lot. There's lots of companies all over the world which pretty much use the same factory somewhere and put a different brand name on it. That doesn't take away from either's legitimacy as a brand, and sometimes we get cross sells between these brands. This is Danger Equipment, or DE as we call them, Evolution Shin Guard. It's a new design Thai shin guard, and frankly I think this is probably the finest example of a Thai shin guard I've seen in many years. This is a medium, so I'm probably not going to be able to put this on for you. Like many of the others, we've got the back strap against the ankle, over the foot here. We've cut this in to go over the ankle bone. Like the Defender, we've got a raised area over the shin and two separate areas of padding. This is an excellent idea. It's been done very ergonomically. It's got a slight raise, like the Fairtex did, for over the knee, so it doesn't sit below your knee, it just comes slightly above, just like the Fairtex did. And the back strap's using exactly the same system as the twins did. It's very difficult maybe to see this, but the inner material is very good. It will help reduce spin, and I wish I could get you guys to be able to touch and feel this, but the material on the inside is just a perfect shin mold. All in all, we've been selling these shin guards for a long time in terms of Thai shin guards. This is brand new, it came in a few weeks ago, and simply put, we think this is the best thing we've ever seen for that sport. It ticks an awful lot of boxes. Revgear, mainly for the American market, but we've decided to move some over here. Also decided to utilize the factory over in Thailand and has ordered the exact same shin guard. So the question is, do you want it to say Revgear Original? You want to say Danger because it is identical. Yeah. So everything I've just said about the Danger Equipment shin guard is absolutely legitimate for the Revgear shin guard. As I say, these are mainly destined for the American market, where there is no Danger Equipment at this moment, and very few choices on the Thai circuit, but this is probably going to be the best choice in America. But these two are certainly probably one of the best choices I've seen in England. However, you might not want the knee protection. It's not leather, it's made of a synthetic leather material. It's quite different to the Fairtex's material though, and a lot of people, if they were given this and told it was leather, would probably believe you. But there is very little advantage to leather on the shin guards. Generally speaking, leather on shin guards is a durability issue. The Defender shin guard is leather, yeah? But choosing between the Defender or this version, the Revgear Original Shin Guard, it's all going to depend on whether you want the knee protection and whether you're using it more principally for kickboxing or whether you want something which is less movable for MMA. The choice is going to be end up being yours. I hope I've helped here to let you make your choices. All of them sit in a very similar price bracket. So the cheapest one is a Hayabusa, which is about £50, but it's totally different shin guard. Then we've got Fairtex, which sits around 55. Revgear and the Danger here and Revgear Defender are all sitting pretty at around £60. I think the Danger's 65. And the two twins are getting on towards £80 and £85. So top to bottom, there's about a 30-35% difference. But there's a world of difference between a lot of these shins, but they're all suitable for various different applications. If you want the sock design, a lot of what I've said here today is opinion. But if you are choosing that design, here at Fightstorepro, we'd like you to choose that design fully in the knowledge of why you're choosing it. So again, I hope this has helped, and we'll see you next time.